Valley Club, there are a lot of great epic champions in Raid Shadow Legends. Some of them are even better than some of the legendaries out there. And a few days ago, we pulled one of the best. It did take me a little while to realize how good of a champion he was. So in this video, we are going to talk about the best epic characters in Raid Shadow Legends, so that if you pull one of these, you can get some of that hype. And if you're ready for all of that, you know what to do, Valley Club. Find that like button and let's go smash it. And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin Raid channel. I am ValleyFlyin, and I hope you're having a great day. We're gonna talk about the best epic champions in Raid Shadow Legends. The reason for it is because I pulled one of the best. I wasn't as hyped as I probably should have been when I pulled that champion. So I kind of wanted to do this for myself and for you guys, talk about some of the best epic champions in Raid Shadow Legends, so that I know, so that you guys know. And if you get some value from this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you know as soon as a brand new video goes up. We have at least 6 pieces of Raid Shadow Legends content every single week on this channel. But let's get into this top 10 list. And at the number 10 spot is Uugo. Yes, Uugo is a champion you're gonna get on day 1 if you use my download link. And some people even consider Uugo the top epic champion in the game. Some people it's in their top 3. I have Uugo at the number 10 spot on this list. Uugo is a very, very good champion, and I've been using her since day 1 because I use that download link. One of the things I like about Uugo is this A3 here. It is going to remove all heal reduction debuffs from allies, then removes a random debuffs from all allies, then it's going to heal for 20% of this champion's max health. And this is kind of a bonus. If all allies are dead, she's going to revive them 50% HP and fill their turn meter by 50%. Or if they're not dead, if they're just going to fill their turn meter by 50% if they're not reviving. So really, really good skill here. But I think the reason that Uugo is on the top of a lot of lists is because of this A2 skill, the Maelstrom Rack. 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. That is very, very strong. Your champion is going to do a lot extra damage if Uugo gets this off before them. Also, 50% chance of placing a block debuff for 2 turns. So yeah, they're not going to have any buffs on the enemies as well. And the chance of placing a block's debuffs increased by 5% for each enemy alive. And Uugo's attacks are going to be based on her attack stats. So very, very good champion. Comes in the number 10 this month. And at the number 9 spot is Miscreated Monster from the Knights Revenant. If we look at Miscreated Monster stats here, it is based on HP. So a lot of the moves here, damage is based on HP, damage is based on HP. So this is a character that you want a lot of HP for. And one of the best moves that Miscreated Monster has is It's Alive, the A3. It's a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except for this champion for 3 turns. Then you're gonna heal this champion for 50% of his max health, then place a 15% continuous heal buff on this champion for 3 turns. Very, very strong. So it's gonna have that ally protection that leads into the passive of Miscreated Monster. It's gonna place a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn when an ally is attacked who's under the ally protection buff. And if we look at more info for that, what the fear does is it kind of stops what they can do. There's 2 versions of fear. Fear and true fear. When a champion with a fear debuffs attempts to use a skill, there's a 50% chance that the skill will not activate and the champion will lose their turn. So pretty much a 50% chance that nothing is going to happen when this Miscreated Monster is on the field with that passive and this ally protection buff is there. So very, very good character. And if you do manage to pull this Miscreated Monster, hopefully you have a little more hype than I did when I pulled that Geomancer. And coming in at number 8 spot is one of the OG champions of Raid Shadow Legends, Stag Knight. I remember this guy was one of the better champions on some of my older accounts, and I really wanted to pull this character. Never pulled them on any of my older accounts, so maybe on this account we'll get lucky and pull the Stag Knight. The A1 attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit, 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. So in a speed-based game, all these turns will matter. So that is a good one. And an attack is based, or the damage is based on attack. So some are going to be based on attack, some are based on health, some are based on defense. So Stag Knight is based on attack. The A2 attacks all enemies. Big AoE attack. 70% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff, 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. So less defense, which means you're going to do more damage. They got less attacks, which means they're doing less damage to you. His damage is based on attack, and then his passive is also very strong as well. Place a 50% increase accuracy buff on an ally for 1 turn each time the ally has a debuff resisted by enemies. So if your allies are getting their stuff resisted while Stagnite's on the field, his passive is going to make it easier and easier for you to land all the debuffs that your allies are trying to land. So Stagnite, very, very good champion. And yeah, the hype should be there if you manage to get a Stagnite. Next on the list is Deacon Armstrong, great support champion here. And man, he has some really, really strong skills. A3 fills a turn meter of all allies 15%, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 15%, and in a turn-based game, super strong skill, grants an extra turn as well, and if you fully book this skill, brings it down to a 3-turn cooldown, so super strong. The A2 is a big AoE attack, 80% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, which means all your other allies are going to be doing a lot of damage. His damage is based on attack and has a great aura here as well. Increases ally speed 19%, and not just an arena like Sun Wukong. All battles, every area you could use Deacon Armstrong as your leader. Very strong champion. I hope I get Deacon Armstrong. This guy is super strong. I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, Raid Shadow Legends. They let me select 4 epic champions that you could get in your account for free if you use my download link. You'll get Uugo. A lot of players consider Uugo the best epic in the game. Then at level 25, which I got to on day 1, you'll get Tagoar, another top epic support champ. And Rector Drath is another one of the top epics in the game. You'll get her for free at level 45. And at level 50, you got Mausoleum Mage for free. So if you're a brand new Raid player or starting off a brand new account, make sure you scan that QR code or use my download link to start off a brand new Raid account. And when talking about great support champions, Rector Drath is one of the best. You're gonna get her for free at level 45 if you use my download link. Also, she is in the current battle pass, and that's how we got the unlock. And man, she has a strong healing all over the place. Let's take a look at her A2. It's gonna heal all allies 20% of this champion's max HP. After healing, place a perfect veil buff for 2 turns on all allies with full HP. So if they have the full HP, they're gonna get the perfect veil. Then also gonna place a 15% continuous heal buff for 1 turn on all allies with less than 100% HP. And the perfect veil is kind of like placing an enemy in stealth. There's 2 versions of the veil and perfect veil. The champions under either of these buffs cannot be targeted by the enemy unless that's like the only character alive there. This A3 is going to bring a character back to life, revives a single ally, 60% HP, fills their turn meter 60%. So lots of HP, lots of turn meter, and they're going to be in perfect veil for 3 turns. And this is a 4-turn cooldown when you fully book this. So very strong move. The passive also very strong. Whenever an ally has veil or perfect veil buff, gets a turn, she's going to heal them 15% of their max health. Also increases the resistance of all allies under veil or perfect veil buffs by 50. Will only increase the resistance once per ally if there are multiple Rectors on the team. So very strong character. And yeah, again, level 45, you're going to get Rector Drath for free. But like I said, we did get her for free in the current battle pass. And if you're a spender, the battle pass has a lot of value. So lots of chickens there, lots of energy, lots of other things to build up your characters. So if you're a spender, that would probably be a good thing to do. Get Rector Drath, but if not, you're gonna get her for free using my download link level 45. And big single target damage coming from Whisper, another member of the Knights Revenant. And with the A1, has a 25% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns. This is gonna snowball some of her other effects here. The A2, very strong, attacks 1 enemy, places a 50% increase attack buff, 30% increased crit rate buff on this champion for 2 turns before attacking if the target has a higher max HP than this champion. And a lot of the bosses, that's probably gonna be true. We'll ignore defense if the target is under a weakened debuff. Damage is based on attack. Another strong move here, attacks 1 enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn. If the target is under decreased defense and weakened debuffs, her damage is also based on attack. And the passive also can chance to get more turns here. 10% chance of granting an extra turn when this champion lands a critical hit. And hopefully when you build up Whisper, you build her so she's always critting. Increases damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. Yeah, so big boss killer. Whisper, great champion to build, and if I get her, I'm gonna be super hyped. Next on the list is Farrakhan the Fat. Look at his belly here. All right, very strong champion, does a lot of damage, also great for bosses. This A1 attacks one enemy, 40% chance, place of 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. His damage based on attack. It's kind of nutty with the A2 and A3. Attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing an HP burn debuff, adding 2 stacks of poison debuff for 2 turns. His damage is based on attack. This A3 places an increase, 30% increase crit rate buff, 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies. Very, very strong. Not this champion, though. Then all allies except this champion will attack one target enemy. So strong damage. Gets all their crits, rates, crit buffs, or crit damage up. And then the passive deflects all incoming damage this champion receives onto all allies. His damage will spread evenly across all allies, so he doesn't get a lot of damage. Some of that is gonna be is gonna spread across all allies, but yeah, very, very good at clearing bosses and lots of damage from Farrakhan. And Ursula the Mourner is one of the best champions in the game. Could argue that she is the best reviver in the game. Very, very strong revive. Revives all dead allies, 75% HP, fills their turn meters 50%, places a 60% increased defense buff, and a 25% strengthened buff on all allies for 3 turns. So unlike Uugo, revives all allies, but they don't need to be all dead for her to do this skill. Very, very strong skill. Also attacks all enemies with the A2, 75% chance placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, so less damage to you. Also 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, so more damage from you. Very, very strong champion. The aura skills more speed in the Doom Tower, so very, very good in a Doom Tower as well. But Ursula, this would be a big celebration if you got this champion. Number 2 on this list, and number 1 on some people's list, is Geomancer, kind of the genesis of this video. This is what we pulled earlier this week, and very, very good champion. Let's start with his passive, because a lot of it starts with this passive. It's going to decrease the damage all allies receive by 15% and deflects that damage onto each enemy under HP burn debuff placed by this champion. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. So if you bring multiple Geomancers, only one of them is going to activate. Whenever this champion is attacked, deflects 30% of the damage instead. When deflecting damage onto the enemy, it has a 30% chance of dealing an additional amount of damage equal to 3% of the target's max HP. So very, very strong passive there. This A3 is going to fully deplete the target's turn meter. Fully depletes it, fill this champion's turn meter of the amount the target loses, 75% chance of placing an HP burn, 25% chance of, or 25% weaken debuff on the target for 3 turns. If you fully book this skill, you're gonna reduce the cooldowns by 2 turns, so 3-turn cooldown, which means that you can have this HP burn in this weekend always up on the targets there. Also, this A2 is very strong, removes all buff from the target enemy, then attacks them, steals all buffs instead if the primary target is under HP burn debuffs placed by this champion. So if you use your A3 skill, this A2 will activate, reduce the cooldown of Quicksand Grasp, so that earlier move, that A3, by 2 turns if the target is killed by this skill when under HP burn debuff placed by this champion. Damage is based on attack, so very, very strong. Lots of damage, gonna help you in a lot of the clan bosses and a lot of the PvE content and also PvP content. I'm gonna use him all over the place. Haven't really used him too many areas, but yeah, he's insane. He's insane. I should have got way more hype when I pulled this champion yesterday. And the top epic champion in the game for many people, and the top champion on this list is Seer from the Orcs. Void champion, so very, very strong, and a lot of it comes from this move here, the A3. It's gonna remove all buffs from all allies and enemies, then gonna attack all enemies. Damage increases according to the number of removed buffs, has a 50% chance of placing a sleep debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. The chance of placing a sleep debuff increased by 5% for each buff removed. It inflicts less damage to bosses, but the damage is not based on her attack or her health. It's based on enemy max HP, so great for clearing bosses with bosses that are gonna have some huge huge max HP for that enemy. So very, very strong skill right here, and it is going to be a 4-turn cooldown when you fully book this. The A2 places a 30% increased crit rate buff on all allies 2 turns, place a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns as well. The A1 is going to attack one enemy, 15% chance of granting an extra turn This damage is based on attack, and the aura is going to increase resistance in all battles by 40%. So you're really bringing her for this A3 skill. Very, very strong, potentially going to sleep, and of course, based on enemy max HP. And Seer is a very good pairing with Mausoleum Mage, who you will get if you use my download link for free when you reach level 50. So if you manage to get Seer, you're gonna get Mausoleum Mage if you use my download link. So strong account and some big boss killers for you. So hopefully this video was as helpful for you watching it as it was for me making it. Now we know which epic champions are the good ones that I want to pull, and I'm probably getting a lot more hype if I see one of these as we're pulling some epic champions, or you know, if we're trying to get a legendary and we get an epic and we get one of these guys, be very, very happy. So hopefully you got some value from this video, and if you did, leave it a like. Check me out on social media as well. Also, if you want to start a brand new account on Rage, scan that QR code or use that download link to get those 4 epic champions. I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out.